Emily Carter lived in a small Texas town where things rarely changed. The streets were clean, the neighbors friendly, and the days moved slow. Her house sat at the corner of a quiet neighborhood. Just a simple one-story home with a white fence and a front porch swing that creaked in the wind. Most people who passed by never thought twice about her. She worked as a nurse at the local elementary school. Quiet, polite, always wore the same tan cardigan and black slacks. She kept to herself. Never caused trouble. Just one of those people you see every day but never really know. But Emily had a past no one here knew about. She used to be a combat medic in the U.S. Army. 10 years of service. 3 deployments. She'd held dying soldiers in her arms, patched up wounds under gunfire, and saved lives in deserts far from home. When she got out, she didn't want medals or attention. She just wanted peace. So she moved to this quiet place and started over. Each morning, she followed the same routine. Wake up at 5:30. Brew her coffee strong. Sit by the window and watch the sun rise. She liked the silence before the world woke up. She never expected anything different. Just another normal Monday. Until everything changed. That day started like any other. Emily arrived at the school before the first bell. She walked the halls, checked supplies in the nurse's office, and greeted a few early students with small nods. No one noticed much. Just Nurse Carter doing her job. Around lunchtime, she stepped outside for some fresh air. The cafeteria was noisy, and she liked the quiet of the outdoors. The school sat near a 4-way intersection. Kids often walked home, and a crossing guard usually helped them across. But that day, the guard was out sick. Emily spotted a group of students gathering on the sidewalk. Among them was Michael, a 10-year-old boy with shaggy brown hair and a big blue backpack. He was new at the school. A little shy. Emily had helped him once with a scraped knee and remembered his quiet, "Thank you." He stood near the edge of the curb, waiting for the light to change. And that's when it happened. A loud screech. A car, an old pickup, came flying down the hill. Its tires squealed. The driver looked panicked. The brakes weren't working. It was heading straight toward the crosswalk, and the kids. Time slowed down. Without thinking, Emily dropped her lunch and ran. She sprinted across the grass, reached the street in seconds, and dove toward Michael. She grabbed his arm and shoved him back just as the truck came barreling through. The boy hit the ground safely. The truck clipped Emily's shoulder, spinning her sideways. She landed hard. Parents screamed. Teachers rushed outside. The truck finally stopped several yards down. Emily lay there, dazed, her arm throbbing. Michael sat up. No injuries. Just wide eyes and shaking hands. She had saved him. Image prompt, a bright, realistic street scene near a school. A woman mid-action, diving to push a boy away from a speeding car, with onlookers gasping in the background. Clear daytime lighting, dramatic but grounded. Emily sat at home that evening with her arm in a sling and an ice pack on her shoulder. The doctor said it was a sprain, not a break. She'd be sore, but okay. The news had already spread through town. Parents posted online. Teachers talked. Some called her a hero. Others were just shocked. Michael's mother had come by in tears, hugging Emily and thanking her for saving her son. But the next morning, things took a strange turn. At 9 a.m., she received a call from the school district's central office. They wanted to see her. Emily thought it was a follow-up. Maybe a thank you. Maybe paperwork. She walked into the office, arm still in the sling. But instead of gratitude, she was met with cold expressions. 3 people sat behind a long desk. The superintendent, a school lawyer, and the head of HR. They told her that while her actions were technically heroic, she had violated school safety protocols. She was not supposed to intervene outside the nurses' station. She had left her post. She had created a liability issue. They said the district had no choice. She was being terminated immediately. Emily didn't argue. She just stared at them. Not angry. Not shocked. Just disappointed. She nodded, stood up, and walked out. She had saved a child. And now, she was out of a job. That night was long. Emily sat alone in her living room, staring at the ceiling. The TV played softly, but she wasn't watching. Her arm ached. Her heart ached more. She wasn't angry about losing the job. But something about the way it happened, the silence, the lack of thanks, it cut deep. By morning, she still hadn't slept. At 6 a.m., as the sun started to rise, she finally made coffee. That's when the rumbling began. It started faint, then louder. Her windows rattled. The pictures on the wall vibrated. She opened the front door and stepped out onto the porch. And then she saw them. 2 Black Hawk helicopters descending from the sky, right over her front yard. The wind from the blades whipped through the trees. Leaves flew. Her robe fluttered. Neighbors ran out of their homes, phones in hand, confused and amazed. The choppers touched down in the street, perfectly synchronized. The side doors opened. 2 men stepped out, dressed in full army uniforms. They walked straight toward her. Emily stood frozen, coffee mug still in her hand. One of the men stopped at the bottom of her steps. "Ma'am," he said, "we need to talk." They didn't come to arrest her. They came to honor her. The 2 men introduced themselves as officers from a Special Operations Command based in North Carolina. Word of what Emily did had reached the Pentagon. A report had gone viral online. Someone had shared a doorbell cam video of her diving to save the boy. It caught the attention of her former commanding officer. They pulled her file. They remembered who she was. They didn't forget the soldier who once kept 3 wounded Rangers alive under fire in Kandahar. They didn't forget the medic who volunteered for the most dangerous missions, not for glory, but to keep others breathing. They told her she had been nominated for a civilian commendation, one rarely given to former service members. But that wasn't all. They wanted her to come back. Not to fight. Not to deploy. They wanted her to train the next generation of combat medics. Led a new program to prepare field medics for real-world trauma under pressure. Emily stood there speechless. She'd spent years hiding, trying to blend in. And now, her past had come back to find her, not to haunt her, but to lift her up. Image prompt, a realistic front porch setting. 2 Army officers speaking with a woman in her 30s. One hands her a manila folder. Her expression a mix of surprise, reflection, and quiet pride. Morning light shining behind them. Over the next week, Emily's life transformed. Papers were signed. Travel was arranged. Her old uniform was tailored for her new role. She didn't tell many people. She didn't need to. The day she left, Michael and his mom came by. The boy handed her a handmade card that said, "Thank you for saving me." He hugged her tightly. She whispered, "Be brave, always." Neighbors gathered quietly as she packed her last bag. A military transport van pulled up. Emily walked outside, wearing a soft green jacket and holding a single duffel bag. She gave one last look at the porch swing, now still. And then she got in the van. As it pulled away, a small cheer broke out down the block. A few people clapped. Someone saluted. She didn't ask for recognition. But she had earned it. Image prompt, a realistic front yard scene. A woman loading a duffel into a military van. A small group of neighbors watching respectfully. A young boy holding a thank you card. Bright, hopeful morning light. Months later, Emily stood on a wide field under the sun. She wore a crisp Army instructor's uniform. Her badge gleamed in the light. In front of her stood a group of young medics, fresh recruits, eyes wide, notebooks ready. She wasn't the same woman who once hid in a school nurse's office. Now, she stood tall, confident, in her element. She spoke clearly, pointing to a diagram behind her. "When you're out there," she said, "seconds matter. Don't wait for someone else to act. Be the one who moves first." They listened. They respected her, because she had lived it. And when she stepped away from the podium, one of the young medics whispered, "That's her. She's the one from the video." Emily smiled. She didn't need a medal. This, training them, leading them, was more than enough.